Hey friends, I'm Jamie Maddox, your wealth embodiment mentor. I teach how you are uniquely designed to attract wealth. In this podcast, I talk about body mapping and money. Body mapping is a unique map on your body that gives information, instructions, and direction for you specifically. Each episode, I highlight one area of the body, discuss its features, and more importantly, what that means for you and your money. So welcome. I'm excited to be on this journey together and can't wait to see what your body can teach you about money. Hello, welcome back, and thank you for listening. I'm so grateful for each of you that are listening to this podcast, that are giving it a review, that are sharing it, and for commenting and telling me that it's making a difference. I am just so excited to hear that because that is absolutely my intention. So today we are talking about calves. So like the calf on the back of your leg, okay? We're not talking about cows. We're still sticking with the body. So calves are fascinating. When you really look at this muscle physiologically, it is one of the only muscles, well, I actually think it's the only muscle in your body that when you flex it, it raises you to a new height, okay? So think about that. When you go on your tippy toes, you rise higher. I'm sitting here and I'm like flexing my right calf muscle, and just by sitting here flexing it, it is pulling my heel, my whole leg up. Okay, that's what calves do in body mapping. They are all about our standards and our values, and really about how to lift ourselves higher to a higher standard and higher values for what we want. Okay, there's just so much to share. I'm like, where do we go first? Okay, so this is really beautiful because people that have a more defined calf muscle have more defined values and standards. And this was really interesting to me. I've never had like super, super defined calves. I'm thinking Tour de France biking people, like their calves are freaking amazing, right? Okay, so I've never had that. But what I have had most of my life growing up, I did have pretty defined calves. And then especially when I flexed it, absolutely pretty defined, okay? And it was interesting. It was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, I was like, man, my calves have no definition in them suddenly, okay? Now, were there a few physical things happening that definitely did contribute to this? Yes. But with those physical things that were happening, emotionally and mentally, I was also lowering my standards, okay? And when we say standards, this can be your standard of wealth, of your housing situation, of the people you let in your life, how you allow people to treat you. A lot of times it's our boundaries, okay? So kind of think standards and boundaries. And I was noticing that, I had loosened a lot of my boundaries and a lot of my standards. And boy, could I tell. Okay. So I'm gonna pause here for 1 second because I want to share a story. So when I was 18, I worked at a Boy Scout camp, Boy Scouts of America. Now, a lot of people are like, but you're a girl. Yes, I think it's called the Ventures. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, women can be part of Boy Scouts through the venturing program. I wasn't part of that. I worked as one of the camp counselors for a summer. And so there were male and female camp counselors. Let's back up a little bit more. Okay, I'm an Aquarius moon. And for any of you that know astrology, no worries if you don't. But the Aquarius energy, we really love, we kind of want to save humanity. So the fact that I started a humanitarian company doesn't surprise anybody. And I was like, oh, I want to volunteer here and I want to help here and I just want to save everybody, right? Okay. So at that time in my life, I did a lot of work for free because I was volunteering at all these different things. And, I was working at this scout camp for the summer. And yes, was it a job? Yes. Was it fine? Yes. Was it financially lucrative? No. I mean, they gave me a place to sleep, and provided food for the weeks that I was there. So that was good. But I remember towards the end of that summer, and it is super distinct in my mind. I was standing in front of the office, just kind of on one of the dirt roads, and I was just thinking about like all of these different places that I had volunteered my time and that I had worked for free. And so distinctly, I was like, I am no longer willing to work for free. I'm going to get paid for my work. And guess what? I no longer worked for free. Okay. Now, does that mean I never volunteer? No. But for like my main jobs that were like supposed to support me and help me, I stopped working for nothing. And guess what? That matters, right? Like, especially when I was headed off to college and, in our family, it was just known like once you're out of high school, you're on your own financially. And it was never a bad thing to me. It just was. And so I was just like, okay, well, that's great. But now I get to pay for everything by myself. So yeah, I probably need to like raise my standards of what I'm willing to work for. Right. And so when I look back at that now, knowing what I know, I'm like, oh my goodness, that was a huge step up in my standards, my standard of what I would work for, how I was willing to be treated as an employee. And so it's kind of fun because I bet each of you have some story somewhere in your life where you've had a defining moment where it was like, wait, I am no longer willing to do that. And that is so beautiful. And that is what I'm talking about. This is the moment with your calves when it's like, no, we're raising ourselves up. We are stepping forward and we are moving up. Okay. So one of the ways that you can actually use your calves to your benefit is you can do calf raises, where you like flex your, no, what's the word? Not flex your toes, point. Thank you. Point your toes, or like, step on the edge of a stair and do calf raises. Okay. And as you do these calf raises, start stating out loud, or if you can't do it out loud, say it in your mind, the different things that you are wanting to raise your standards on. So if you're doing it, be like, I am open to raising my standards of what money I bring in. I now bring in X amount of money monthly. I'm raising my standards of who I date. I only date people who have, these certain qualities or treat me this certain way, or I no longer am willing to live in this housing situation. I'm open and raising my standards of where I'm living. And play with the wording. I have a whole rant, a whole soapbox about about words and having to say things correctly. Here's the thing. Is there truth and value in that? Absolutely. But a lot of times, and for me and a lot of my clients, we sometimes get stuck on being really particular about the words. And at least for me in the past, it has stopped me from moving forward because I'm like, oh crap, I just said the wrong words or the wrong tense, or I don't know, all the different things, right? That are sometimes, especially in the personal development community, really put out there of like, say it this way, do it this way, do it this way. And sometimes I'm like, I'm just not going to do it because it just feels exhausting and I feel like I never do it right. Okay. So if that has stopped you in the past, don't stress about it. Okay. because what we're doing is we are connecting your body somatically to the new energy of what you want. Okay, so your body keeps the score. And we use that phrase and that book by Basil Bendelkorf. Man, go check me on all these things. I never say his name right, but anyway, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of that book. But we a lot of times think that the body keeps the score only in, holding on to trauma, holding on to pain, holding on to all these things that we're like, no, I don't actually really want that in my life, right? But what if the body could keep the score for all the things that we do want? Okay, isn't that cool? So if you're sitting there doing your calf raises and you're like, oh yeah, I am now open to receiving $10,000 a month. I am open to making 6 figures in my business this year. I am open to, bringing in the love of my life who treats me like a queen. And you're doing it as you're doing these calf raises. Your body is somatically, meaning physically, bringing that in and starting to keep that score. Okay. So let's start having our body keep the score that we actually really want, the winning score, the score of wealth, health, joy, pleasure, fun, success, satisfaction, hope, all of these things that, my whole body's like tingling right now. It's like, yes, let's do it. I'm like, I know, let's all do it, right? Because your body will start to build those muscles. It will start to get better definition. As you're doing it, you are going to think and know different things that you're like, oh my gosh, that is the new standard that I want. I'm no longer willing to work for free. I'm no longer willing to have so-and-so treat me that way. Whatever it is, however that looks in your life, you get to decide what your standards are. Period. You get to decide. So if you're like, oh man, well, I have no definition of my calves. Oh, well, yeah, I don't have a lot of defined standards in my life. Then work together with your body. Okay. Because here's the thing. We are always moving forward. We are always progressing in some form or another. Even sometimes when maybe we're kind of almost in like a plateau type place in our life, we've really just built up the muscles to move forward and walk forward without a lot of extra energy or action that needs to be taken. And then when we're ready, we put forth that extra effort. It's kind of like when you're hiking, like you go up the hill and then you maybe get to like a little bit of a flat spot and you're still making progress. It's just not as intense for your muscles and you kind of get a little bit of a break, right? And then eventually you'll probably come to the next hill, the next, incline. And then you continue to move forward and it becomes a little bit, I don't want to say harder, but you engage more of your muscles. You engage all these things that are helping you progress. So one of the things that you can ask your calves, if you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what I want. I just know I want things to be different. Ask your calves, what's next for us? And even better, if you put your hands on your calves and you really just take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just really settle in and focus your intention on your calves and say, what is next for us? Because the thing is that our calves want us to rise higher. That's exactly what they're meant for. And they want us to keep moving forward. They want us to progress. And here's kind of an interesting side note, but I think about how a lot of women, when they say that they like high heels, let's be honest, most of us don't really like how they feel because they kind of hurt our feet, right? And for me specifically, I am not the best at walking in high heels. Just going to put it out there. But what do most women say why they love high heels? Because it makes their calves really defined, right? Because they are naturally lifted. They are supported in being lifted up. They have that height and the shoe supports it, right? And then they get this like awesome defined calf and they're like, oh, I look good. I look really good, right? So if you're kind of just like, oh, I don't quite know where to start. I don't know which one. Just have fun and play with it. Go put on some high heels. even if you just wear them around your house for like, I don't know, 5 minutes until your feet start really hurting. Walk around for just a second, take a look at your calves in the mirror with your high heels on and be like, yeah, damn, that looks good. Like, holy cow, right? And just let yourself remember that you are beautiful in your standards. Having defined values, having defined standards, having defined boundaries literally do lift you up to the next level, lift you forward in the progress and the direction that you want to go. And the best part is you get to choose. You get to choose. So let me know how that goes. First off, I would love to hear any of your high heel stories or share a picture of your favorite high heels or your calves looking so good in your high heels. Let me know how it goes with you saying some affirmations, and doing your calf raises. And let me know if this was enlightening to you. Does it make sense? Can you see how doing these calf raises, saying your affirmations will literally help you to know where you're going and more importantly, know why you want to get there? Because my friends, the why is so important. Okay, I'm going to go on a little tangent. This wasn't planned, but a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, do this or do this or do this. But here's the thing. It's actually the why and the energy behind why we do something that is really the most important. Because two people can do the exact or make the exact same choice, do the exact same thing, and have completely different reasons behind them. And a lot of times, wealthy people, regardless of whatever you consider to be wealthy, but a lot of times wealthy people are accused of being selfish, of being stingy, of being rude, of not caring. I mean, I've heard it all. I've been in the finance industry for almost 10 years now, and I've heard it all, okay? But let me tell you one thing. Are there some wealthy people that are like that? Oh yeah, absolutely. But I have also seen some of the absolute most generous people that it blows my mind. And the reason they're able to be so generous is because they have money. Money is not bad. And guess what? You get to choose what type of wealthy person you are. You get to choose if you become stingy and rude and don't care and whatever. You get to choose. For me, being wealthy just opens up all sorts of fun possibilities. Then I guess if I want to work for free, I can. No, we're gonna stick with I'm not working for free. But I get to really donate to the causes that I really care about. When I hear someone's story and I think, oh, honestly, number one, prayers will always help. But number two, money actually really does help. So I could just give money in larger sums to the people that I really want to. I actually saw on Instagram today, and I might get it wrong, but I think it was the owner or the guy that started Domino's. I hope it was Domino's. And I don't remember his name, but he paid Rosa Parks rent for a lot of years after he found out all that she was going through. And he set up a trust, and he silently, without really anybody knowing, paid her rent for all those years. Now, have I fact checked this? I have not. So hopefully it is an accurate story. If not, take it for the concept of there's a lot of wealthy people that do incredibly beautiful, generous things that no one ever knows about. And quite frankly, those wealthy people don't really want or need other people to know about, because guess what? They do it because for them, it makes them excited. It makes them feel good. They get lit up by being able to do it. And in turn, it blesses other people's lives. Oh, doesn't that just feel so good? Okay, so today, decide what kind of wealthy person you're going to be. What do you want to do? What standards are you going to raise? And my friends, go and enjoy your calves and tell them thank you, because they are there for you to help you rise higher. Thanks for listening. Make sure to check back each week for the newest content about your body and your wealth. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends and give it a 5-star review. Make sure to visit healinghopewithjamie.com for new offers, retreats, and ways to embody your wealthy life.